Do you have a workers' compensation claim and now you're afraid that somebody's going to start following you for undercover surveillance? We're talking about that right now. Hi, I'm Naomi from Gonzalez Law, empowering Californians through legal education. Now, if you have a work injury, it is possible that somebody will start following you to try to get undercover surveillance. Today, we're going to be interviewing a licensed private investigator with over 20 years experience. He wishes to remain anonymous, but he will be answering all your questions about private investigators. Thank you so much for being with us today. The question from the viewer is, what is the purpose of surveillance? How is this footage used?
The simple answer, basically just to see if they're moving outside of their restrictions, notate their daily activity. I'm not really trying to go get the film to prove that they're not hurt. I'm just trying to prove that they're not as hurt as they say they are. Then the video is just used in conjunction with their case.
At what point would you might expect somebody to start following you?
That's going to depend on the insurance company. It's usually on a case-by-case basis. Say you have a claimant that has a history of prior claim, habitual claimant. That could be somebody that's going to have somebody on them probably pretty much immediately. On the other end of that, you could have somebody, they show no improvements after continued treatment. The insurance company, well, their injury was kind of not too bad and they're still claiming they're injured, so we want to see if they're as injured as they say they are. There's also a lot of red flag indicators. For instance, the accident occurs with no witnesses, seems like an exaggerated claim.
So if this is maybe your first injury, it was witnessed, is there a high likelihood you wouldn't be under surveillance at all?
Your likelihood of it happening with those parameters will probably be very low.
Next question is a good one for safety. How can you identify if you are being followed by an investigator for workers' compensation as opposed to somebody stalking you, wanting to hurt you?
That's hard to determine. If you're having a domestic problem, say you have ex-husband or ex-wife that's following you or has threatened you in the past, you know you have something like that going on in your life, always take precaution. You can always call police and say, hey, I'm being followed by a suspicious vehicle. A surveillance investigator's not going to get in any type of trouble. It's lawful. If you're being followed or stalked by someone, err on the side of caution.
What you're saying is if somebody's following you and you're not sure that they're from workers' compensation and you feel threatened, that you should probably call the police?
You could call the police or you could just pull up to a police station.
Regarding vehicles, is there some sort of giveaway?
When it comes to vehicle type, no. They're going to drive a low-profile vehicle and it's going to look like any other vehicle on the street. Not like the everyday movie scene. It's a kind of line vans where they have all this super equipment in the back and the computers in the seats.
For identification purposes, in your industry, is it like 50-50 guys and ladies, or is it mostly guys, mostly ladies?
98%, maybe 99% men.
Oh, interesting.
It's a very small percentage of women.
If you have somebody who is conducting surveillance on you, are you able to confront them?
Yeah, it's not illegal. I mean, I've been confronted many times. But if you do it, don't do it in a manner where it's confrontational. A good little, hey, I see you, or hey, that's enough. It doesn't have to get to a point where you're cursing them out, chasing them. That can become dangerous. Not only for you, but also for the investigator. Because in the end, remember, what they're doing is not illegal. They have a job to do.
If you do really let them know that you see them, are they likely to continue doing that?
Their likely reaction would be to stop for the day. They've already basically been detected. They're not going to continue to follow you. Once we get detected, we're pretty much done. That doesn't mean that we're not going to come back on another day.
Is it normal to switch people if one person was seen for that person not to continue on that case?
Absolutely. So it doesn't mean it's going to be the same person. And it could also depend on if you see my face or not. We're in a vehicle, tint the windows. I could have more than one car. It could be the same investigator, just different vehicle.
If somebody is following you and you do not want them to, what would you recommend the best way to avoid them?
There's a lot of things you could do. One, go around the block multiple times, pull over multiple times to make sure that you're actually being followed by the same vehicle. It's what they call counter surveillance. That happens to be the case. You could either, one, call the police. Two, you could confront them, make it known that they're seen. If you do that, they're going to break off of you. And you might as well get it over sooner than later is what I'm saying. So
how long would a typical assignment be? Should somebody expect to be followed every single day of their claim?
It depends on the insurance company. They could start off with 2 or 3 days of surveillance, and then based on what the investigator obtains, that could warrant further surveillance.
As part of an assignment, would you normally contact family members or follow family members of your target?
Yeah, that's a very rare thing that's done. The only reason when you would follow friends or family members if you're not getting any type of activity for the claimant. But you know that this is the claimant's wife, girlfriend. There was one time I had a claimant didn't have the other resident's address, so we just set up at his given address. When we saw the wife leave with the kids on a hunch, I followed the wife because she had the kid and she wound up dropping the kids off with the claimant. I was able to find out the claimant's real residence and we were able to start surveillance from that point.
But somebody should not expect you to be calling or texting their family members.
No, that normally doesn't happen.
How long are your shifts usually?
It's always up to the insurance company. Do they want just an activity check? Like, hey, you know what? I want you to go out here for 4 to 6 hours. If you get anything, then from there, I can decide, okay, do I want to budget some more money in order to continue following more people? Another insurance company be like, you know what? Let's just go out and just do about 3 straight days and see what type of activity we get, see if it's going to warrant for their investigation.
When you say days like that, is that something that would be like an 8-hour day? That's that 24-hour period usually when you count days?
Let's just look at it as 8 hours in a shift. So when I say like 3 days, that could be like 24 hours worth of work. Now, whether or not that translates into 3 straight days of 8 hours, or it could be 4 days of 6 hours, depending on the activity.
I had a viewer asking if you were able to put a tracking device on a vehicle.
No, that's illegal. So we're not allowed to put any type of tracking devices without the permission of the registered owner. That never happens in workers' comp at all.
Does an investigation usually also go to social media, trying to hack into an account or anything like that?
Social media is a big thing nowadays, especially for investigators. We can't legally hack any social media because you got to remember there's privacy laws, evidentiary process, like how did you obtain that? Did you obtain that information legally or illegally? So we're always going to be on the side of obtaining information legally. I suggest if you have a social media, remember they have privacy features on your social media. If you post something that's on there and I could just log in and search your name and all of a sudden it pops up and I see all these pictures that you post, you're at a 3K marathon, you're over here like at Lake Mead or whatever, and you're over here water skiing for the weekend because your mom tagged you.
Please don't be one of my clients.
That's public. You didn't block it, so whose fault is that? That's your fault. That also goes for family members. They have social media and they're tagging you and stuff. Yours might be private, but your family members may not.
Does this surveillance take place solely on the streets, or do you do it inside other buildings?
Residences, no, because that's where expectation of privacy is expected.
If your window's open, are they able to video you inside your house?
That's a gray area because there is privacy laws. There were some civil codes that were on the book. While you're in your home, you do have an expectation of privacy. Like surveillance is done with vehicle and it's also done on foot. So anywhere that you're going at is public property, we can also go. If you're at the mall, I'm at the mall. Anything that's a public dwelling, I can follow you as well. So if you go into like a building, I can go into the building. The only place that I'm not going to follow you into would be anything that has an expectation of privacy. Like for instance, like your doctor's office, your attorney's office, your physical therapy office, things of that nature.
What about a classroom, either college or the Zumba class?
Zumba, yes. I follow many people into Zumba because it's open to the public. School and stuff like that, no. Any good investigator is always going to focus on the injury. What good is my video following you where you're just sitting the whole time? It's the same thing with movie theaters.
You seem to be following some sort of code of conduct, or is that something that's done by state?
The professional standards that private investigators are supposed to abide by, yeah, it's a state thing.
So if you want to be licensed as a PI, you have to follow the certain code.
Yeah. If you're going to be licensed, you got to go through everything, state board, testing. So people shouldn't fear that investigators out there to do them harm. Because that's not our job. Our job is not to be confrontational. Our job is to be as discreet as possible. I'm not trying to get seen for nothing. How am I going to get video of you if you know that I'm following you?
I do appreciate this. I think it'll be very valuable for our viewers. Thank you so much for your time. So if you would like to speak to us about your claim, text this consult and we'll be very happy to talk to you. And don't forget to press like so more people can be empowered. Look at this video right here. Thank you. Bye.